This is Nick. You're listening to the DU Football Show, Drunkard United. Of course, up the Blades and f*** the Owls.
The Blades.
What's up?
Not much. Hey, Sammy,
Yes.
taking a break from whiskey.
Yes,
Gin
we
and-
are.
Time to celebrate Hanukkah and drink your gin and tonica, baby.
That's right. Going on a gin binge.
Yes, we are. Ready for some gin, girl? She nods yes. That means let's start the show.
Born in the land of Bowie, Maryland. Bred to be a fan of fucking Everton. Punch you in the eye and drink your rye. Sam Houston.
Sam Houston?
Arsenal fans have another Sam. AKA the fucking Gooner Graham. Stump of a lord. Looks great in shorts. Sam Grammy.
Sam Graham.
Fucking United! Fucking United!
Hello and welcome to the Drunkard United Football Show, a completely biased recap of the English Premier League as told by two common American schmucks. I am your host, Sam Houston, and across the way from me is my consigliere, my confidant, Samuel Graham.
Hello,
Sammy,
hello.
how the fuck are you, brother?
Doing pretty fucking good. Fired up, ready to rock. Football's coming back next week.
Footy's coming back.
Thank God.
We don't have to search for topics anymore. It'll just be games, and we
Yeah.
can go back to talking about the games and getting really drunk.
I am pretty much out of fucking ideas, too.
Oh my God, it's been weird. Then today's pre-show meeting was just like, so the fuck you want to talk about? What you want to talk about?
Yeah.
We're recording at Studio H, just outside our nation's capital. You can check us out on all podcast platforms. Please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with a podcasting, footballing friend as well. Should you want to chat with us, there is many ways that you can. Sammy, why don't you tell the good people how they can get in touch?
Absolutely. It is at DUfootballshow on all the social medias, and then DUfootballshow@gmail.com to get in touch via email. I will say that if you follow our Instagram, make sure you follow the Facebook, because you will then get an invite to follow the Drunkard United FC page, which is our closed group and talk where we talk most of our shit.
Oh, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. You'll also at that point have access to direct line access to us, essentially, as well as our through our DMs on the other avenues, and then the email. So, but the DUFC page, the Drunkard United FC page, definitely gets a bit more attention because it's people that we know really care.
Well, and it's all of us just talking footy like crazy and having a good time.
Yeah.
That's also where we put the links for our patio time, which, Sam, I think we have discovered is beginning to hit its slow, painful death.
Yes. It's been about 2 weeks now that has been pretty painful.
Yeah.
And I think it started one of those film or movie-esque long, drawn-out last breaths this past
Even
Saturday.
producer Mel didn't show up this week.
Yeah.
So we're
Not
going to do
good.
it. We're going to do it one last time this Saturday at 10 o'clock Eastern time. If you're a member of the Drunkard United FC group, the link will be there. We want to hear from as many of you as humanly possible. And we're just going to sit around and smoke cigars. I'm definitely, as long as it's not raining, I'm sitting outside smoking cigars. And we're going to drink whiskey and get hammered and talk a lot of shit. And yeah, that'll be it. It'll be the last one. We might use that as a platform in the future, and we'll have to see.
Yeah, maybe during games. Watch the
Yeah.
game with us kind of thing.
Yep, absolutely.
That
Oh,
sort of
I
stuff
like that idea.
potentially, yeah. Especially since through these last 9 games of this season, and as I imagine into the beginning of next season, there won't be a whole lot of watching games in bars.
No,
Yeah.
that's a terrific idea.
So-
I'll produce you guys a watch along. Making a note now.
Yeah.
And then with that being said, I will be watching the Derby. Guess where, Sam? In a bar.
Well, yeah, that particular pub has outdoor seating,
Yeah.
with TVs outside, which is now legal. So
Yeah.
you're lucky enough to have that happen. I would show up very early if I were you.
With Fido closing permanently in D.C., the D.C. Toffees were in search of a new bar, and Lou's City Bar over in Columbia Square off 14th is more than gracious enough to welcome us in, and they're going to have us there. Our first game will be the Derby, and I want to make sure I'm supporting our boy John and the rest of the DC Toffees. So I will be there, social distance, mask in hand, and ready to yell and scream at the demise of my lovely club.
There you go.
Sam and myself both work in the wine and spirit industry and both have a deep, passionate love for all things distilled spirits. So as the red-blooded Americans we are, we vow to have a drink in our hand throughout this show and every single show. Sammy, taking a step back from whiskey.
Yeah, I don't even know what we have, man. These go down way too smooth.
G&T time, baby. G&T time.
So we've got the Wigle Ginever, or Ginever, as they say,
right.
which is a Ginever gin,
Right.
which is a particular style of gin making. This particular one, the raw product is rye, wheat, and barley, which is a little different for a gin, normally made from a lot of wheat. Typically, this one, the predominant grain is rye, although they are distilled to a high enough proof that it is a grain-neutral spirit.
Of course.
So you don't
Have
get
to
a
do
lot.
that.
Yeah. You don't get a ton of that rye mouthfeel. Lost my place.
Yeah, you're all right.
Heavier on the juniper, sorry, but notes of lavender and cardamom. $34.99 to $39.99 on the shelf, and the tonic we are drinking is.
By the way, 84 proof. I forgot to tell you that
84
in our
proof.
pre-show
Yep.
meeting.
There you go. Our pre-show meeting. Our pre-show meeting is Soundcheck, which
Soundcheck,
is available on the Patreon, www.patreon.com/DUfootballshow.
Nice plug.
Check that out. The Fever Tree. The Fever Tree Mediterranean Tonic is what we're using as the tonic for this one. It makes it Mediterranean is the fact that they use rosemary and Sicilian lemon to flavor that tonic. So pairs very nicely with this particular gin, also having notes of lavender and rosemary, or cardamom, I mean.
Yeah.
It is excellent.
Well, thank you. I know how to make a good G&T, kids. And Ginever style that Sam's talking about was mostly the Dutch, and that's who kind of invented gin.
That's who did invent gin.
Yeah, and that's where, well, yes.
The Dutch.
I think it was a Dutch doctor.
And it was using more of a barley/rye build to the base spirit as opposed to wheat or corn, which is typically used in most GNSs typically today are corn for the most part. But yeah, it's a lovely little gin. And by the way, Mel and I's uproaring of laughter is an inside joke, not because Sam was that terribly witty.
Oh,
Because you
what's
did
the
it
joke?
purposely. You did the
oh yeah.
right, like, yeah, we loved
You
it.
paid me a compliment.
you did it, and we both lost it. It was brilliant.
It was great.
All right, kids.
I'm
Well,
having so much fun.
we've stalled enough already. Let's get into it. Have a good show.
Now we only need 10 minutes of content.
Well, I'm actually, Houston, you left a topic off the list that I asked you to put on here.
Okay, what was that?
The sound thing and how great it is.
We're going to talk about that a little
Okay,
bit. That's
good.
going to be in there.
Because it's not often I request topics.
No.
And I actually had a topic request, and I was looking at the rundown. I'm going, huh.
It's not in there.
Huh.
Yeah, it is.
I looked on the
planned.
backside. I flipped it upside down.
That was going to be kind of in the beginning with the very first part of it. So, but very good.
What you
Alright.
didn't
Well,
do
I'll
was
mute
shine a
myself
light
until
on
you
it
get
to
there.
read the
Okay.
invisible ink.
Nope. You said you were muting yourself. Fucking mute your fucking self, don't you? Just stop being distracting. Produce me something. All right. Anywho, Premier League is getting closer to a restart, so teams have had scrimmages and some inter squad games.
God.
Here's the biggie: no positive hits for COVID-19 this entire work week.
Correct.
For the Premier League teams.
And the Premier League actually, I think, has only had 3 from 2 different clubs. And those players have been asked to not participate in training or the first couple of rounds of games. So they will be quarantined and hopefully able to join their clubs thereafter.
Yep. No news seems to be good news, except for Manchester City, who has news. Their news is they got to go to the court of arbitration this week.
Yes, that started today. I don't see any updates on that yet. I did bring my iPad, so I'm looking on it, and I got nothing.
That's fine. We won't hear anything. What's going to happen? Nothing. Friday will be, we found nothing and we're not going to charge them with anything.
Yeah, exactly.
The ban has been reversed and there's no suspension. Nothing to see here. Look away.
Yeah, right. Exactly. We think they're above ground, just like Manchester, or just like PSG are.
Okay, nothing to see over here. Look, the Newcastle owner kills people.
Yeah.
Don't pay any attention to the law breaking Manchester City side. pay not attention to them. Pay attention to asshole drunk
Yeah.
pasta eating
Right.
Newcastle owner, please.
The Court of Arbitration for Sport has a statement. Okay, media is gathered outside. Yeah, all of those players that took their shirts off to reveal support for Black Lives Matter and George Floyd and all that. Yeah, their yellow cards are rescinded. By the way, Manchester City's allowed to play. And but look at what we're doing for the cause.
So first week appears that everything's going to be single scheduled games completely across the board. Obviously, this is more for England than it is for us. We just get to be the lucky recipients of that.
Yes.
Meaning every single game is played as a one-off. That means there will be footy on for Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
Yep.
And every single game will be uninterrupted.
On TV, yeah.
Yep. Now,
Awesome.
But also not for long. Apparently, the late game on Saturday, the Bournemouth Palace game, somehow on gold.
They have to hold something back for the people that paid for it, or else the people that paid for it are going to be pissed.
Honestly, as a person who paid for it, I've watched enough games on gold this season. Put it out for everybody. I want everybody to see every fucking game.
Because we're football perverts.
Right.
The casual fan that decided I'm going to pay for gold because I'm a fucking what's the word they use for those people with the beards that only drink craft beer and have two sleeves? And
Hipster douchebags.
Hipsters. Yeah. So that's because all of the fucking hipsters that decided to support Everton want their money's worth on gold. So
I just want to point out,
they
Houston,
better hold something back.
you probably shouldn't insult people that want to pay for it and get extra content that we hold back.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But in this instance, just put it all out there. Why not? Put it all out there.
Well,
I would debate
shows, that we've released to the public.
And I would debate that those are people wanting to support this project and see it be successful, and they know that their donation helps pay for the project and makes it able for us to put it on, and we give them extra shows as a thank you.
Absolutely, that 100%. And the other thing is with that, we also put out previews from time to time, once every so often of what we actually talk about on those shows. If you want to hear all of them, again, it's www.patreon.com/DUfootballshow. Just go ahead and check that out. Multiple tiers. It'd be nice of you to support us. We really fucking appreciate it.
And we could use the fucking money.
One of us lost their jobs during this bullshit. Help us out.
And it wasn't you.
Producer Mel might be carrying this household right now.
Notice we haven't been talking much about my line of work lately. Because my line of work is jack shit. All right. Now, the other interesting thing to note, Sam, is with the NBC coverage and also with the England coverage in general, there will be, as we saw with Dortmund and Bayern, there will be the use of crowd noise on the live broadcast. Not done live through the studio, but on the live broadcast.
Right.
Now, there's going to be a slight difference between what Germany was doing and what England was doing.
Okay.
In Germany, it was an actual sound producer using sound drops from that particular team. So in the case of Dortmund Bayern, it was at Dortmund. So it was Dortmund songs being sung the whole time.
Right.
In this instance, for the EPL, they're going to be using FIFA 2020.
Yep. They're going to be using FIFA 20 AI, basically. And now that is tailored to what teams are playing and what stadium they're in the game if you've played it. So I think there might be a producer there pushing buttons.
Can we call it a DJ?
Yeah.
Crowd noise DJ.
Yeah. So I'm not sure what chant I was singing there, but I just went with a generic sound that hit your beat. But yeah, so I think they're still going to be pushing the buttons, but it is going to be the noise, the crowd noise that you hear on FIFA.
Is it good?
It's all right. It's not bad.
Is it going to sound as good as the German games?
It won't sound bad. It'll be all right.
Yeah, it'll be
right.
fine. So what the German games?
What will annoy me is because FIFA's prone to do this, right? Like, I'm just going to put it simple. If they play You'll Never Walk Alone being sung during the Merseyside Derby while it's at fucking Goodison, I'm going to go outside and, like, kick a puppy. Like, I will be very mad.
I hear you. But so I personally am not a fan of the crowd noise. It's not distracting. It doesn't take away from the game. But very rarely do we get the insight of watching and seeing these players communicate.
Right.
Hearing the coaching staff scream from the sidelines what they want their players to do. Hearing referees sometimes yell at people 15, 20 yards away. I, again, as a football pervert, loved that shit when there was no crowd noise the first 3 weeks of the Bundesliga, and I didn't give a shit that I didn't understand what they were saying.
Right.
You know?
You could figure it out when you would see somebody make a run. You're like, oh, okay.
that's
there's
what
been
he
a
did.
change in play. There've been
Yeah.
like this team's been attacking down the left flank all of a sudden like crazy. That must have been because the coach told him start working the fucking left flank.
Absolutely. I'd love to see how I would love to hear a very cosmopolitan squad that doesn't include many UK players, like Arsenal, for instance, or Manchester City. I'd love to see how they communicate on the field. What language are they speaking?
How many languages get thrown around?
Yeah, I'd love to see that. You know? Wiedersehen, Guten, fucking Pantalones. I'd love just whatever the fuck I'd love to see it.
Show
way-
title, fucking Pantalones.
By the way, the first two words you used were both German.
Yeah. It was hello, goodbye, fucking pants.
F and Pantalones. I believe that will be the name of the show.
But you see, like, I enjoyed that. I loved seeing that. You know what I mean?
I'm with
You know,
you on that.
fucking, Krankenwagen, whatever, man. That was fantastic.
I will say now, this is also a result of the German league as well as a whole. I mean, let's face it, it's a little dry, it's a little boring, and we're watching it because we're crack addicts and we need that fucking hit, man. We need that fucking rock, man.
Absolutely.
You know, so we're fucking fiending, and we're sitting there in the corner like Tyrone Biggott's going, "Red balls gives me wings," and
Red balls or red bowls?
red balls. It was red balls.
Oh, was it?
Yes. Red balls gives you wings. Peanut butter and crack sandwich, my favorite.
Don't you have him on a sound drop there, Mel?
We're just giving her fucking show titles. It's just we're going crazy. But anywho, let's I agree with you. I'd like to hear a little bit more of the game itself.
Yeah.
I found when it was with the German league, it felt kind of shallow and it was I was not personally invested in the games already as it was. So without having any crowd noise, it just felt even more awkward. And then when the crowd noise was inserted, it just felt normal.
Right,
I
hear you.
Yeah, we were eating breakfast one Sunday morning, and I'm not paying attention when he's watching soccer. So I'm sitting on, the couch playing on my island game, and I had forgotten. I went, wow, there's a crowd there. And it sounded legit, and I had forgotten that stadiums weren't allowing spectators. So I say kudos to the German DJ engineering the sound.
Now,
The discotheque.
one thing that I did get, I think it was during Der Klassiker, which is Borussia Dortmund versus Bayern Munich. I don't remember who it was. I think it was at the Western Stadion, which would have been Dortmund Stadium. So I think they were clean through. Maybe Hangland was running in, and the crowd noise didn't change.
Right.
And
Right.
that
Guy's running in fast break all by himself.
at
like,
their home stadium, and this artificial crowd noise was just still like murmurings of
Where's
the
the
crowd.
noise?
There wasn't like a collective gasp or a
Right.
like a yeah, like a build up to excitement.
Right.
And that threw me off a bit. Besides that in particular,
There was hissing
I didn't
when,
really
when
notice it.
Bayern was when Bayern was stalling at the end.
So that's what I'm saying. So like there were certain points like that, for instance, in which I noticed the crowd noise is not matching what I'm seeing.
Right.
Other than that, I think they did an excellent job. But there were certain points where I did take notice of it, and it did distract me a bit.
A couple other things. So the action's going to start on Wednesday with 1 o'clock. It will be producers Mel's Villa facing the Blades.
Yep, that's next Wednesday the 17th.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then after that game at about
3:05 or so,
Yep.
right? Yeah.
Pretty much right after they finish, we go right into your game with City. Now we've talked about a little bit the idea of NBC Gold maybe missing an opportunity here. One thing they are doing that's pretty interesting, I'd like to see what they do on Wednesday with the programming and if they put your game on regular NBC, but Sunday, 2:30 in the afternoon, the Merseyside Derby will be on NBC. That's probably, the latest in the afternoon. The network, not NBC Sports, but the fucking mothership. National TV available to anybody who owns a TV and wants to watch it.
Yep.
Fucking free. That's pretty big.
The latest on a Sunday, definitely, because NBC it's Fox and CBS is the NFL in it.
Yeah.
Which doesn't matter because it's fucking June. But normally you don't get those afternoon games anyway for that reason.
Right.
Then you have the Saturday late game.
Is always on NBC,
because of
latest,
college football.
The latest they do is that 12:30 game.
Right.
So that's the latest it's ever been.
The 2:30 game is normally back on NBCSN
Absolutely.
or even CNBC.
Yeah.
Because of college football, NASCAR, those sorts of things.
Right. So very interesting. This is a big opportunity for
That's a huge deal
for soccer to get some casual fans into the game, and unfortunate for me, but fortunate for everybody else that it will be the Merseyside Derby.
I was just going to say
that is one you can pump the fuck out of.
Yeah.
Here's the team that's about to win the title that hasn't won it in 30 years against their major rivals. These guys have fought back and forth, and look back to the 80s where they were back and forth winning titles every other season against each other. And that, I mean, there's a lot. NBC plays their cards right. They could do this real fucking well for people.
I got to say, I think the odds are more in your favor than you're thinking about, because if Liverpool is the story and this great team and they've been struck by the COVID and blah, 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 of course now they're going to lose because y'all play the villains in that.
I'd fucking love it if that happened,
The way
but I doubt it.
2020's been going, it's been snatching victories away. So I think the odds are actually in your favor, Houston.
Now, let me tell you, I've actually really enjoyed the first 3 years of this year.
It took a second to sink in, but very well said, Sam.
I like that. Very deadpan, too.
Thank you. I made a lot of money last couple months.
So,
to be fair,
yes, you have.
I'm gonna buy a boat.
When
Okay.
There's somebody that hasn't been working, been living off government money. That's someone who has been working, been getting fucking paid.
Yeah. So next time the shit hits in the fall, we'll be able to just cruise about 6 miles right off the coastline and live on fish for about 2 months.
Cheetos. A little something in my throat right there.
Yeah.
A little something in my throat.
The one thing I do disagree with having the Merseyside Derby as this showpiece game that day is Liverpool will win the title there, which is annoying for you.
No, they won't, because you're not going to beat
Yeah.
City.
I get we might.
You're not gonna beat
2-3 weeks worth of making fun of you for that at least.
Right.
And then the other piece of that is you all have the biggest opportunity to capture a fan base in this country.
Oh, of course, with
And
the amount
like-
of Americans that
and-
have paid for us.
And like usual, you're going to fucking blow it.
Oh, yeah, we will. Oh, yeah, we will. I mean, come on. Let's face it. They just made Tim Howard the American ambassador to Everton this year.
It took long enough. Well, he was still playing, though.
Still, you can't figure, like, you had Joe Max Moore, you had Preki,
Right.
you had fucking Landon.
Landon Donovan, yeah.
you couldn't manage
Well, I think
to
part of the
work
problem
out
with Landon,
something.
I think part of the problem with Landon is he was only ever there on loan. They never bought him.
Yeah,
outright.
Everton a month ago, Sam, has finally affiliated itself with 2 youth organizations in the United States. A month ago.
A little late to the party.
Fucking
And when
hell.
nobody's playing football.
Oh, I just, you gotta be fucking dry humping me. But you just
Never heard that saying before.
I've never heard that come out of his mouth before.
it's, well, you know.
What is that,
it's
like toying with your emotions? Is that what that's supposed to
Pretty
mean?
much.
That's a new one.
Pretty
Mark
much.
it here. That phrase was invented on June 8th.
Yeah. This will be a date that goes down in history for sure.
That conversation could have kept going, but no, that was a perfect stopping point. Perfect fucking stopping point. June 15th is scheduled to be the start of the transfer window in Europe, and the silly season is already upon us, Sammy. This is going to be an interesting summer of transfer because you have some leagues that are already done playing, so they're already doing business. You have others that are going to finish before others, a la Germany is going to finish before the English Premier League.
Yep.
So, I mean, you really can't like go, oh, we're going to bump it back to, June the 30th and then make it open. You can't.
Well,
it's just kind of open.
As we've been talking or going to talk about soon with Chelsea and some of the moves that they've made, a lot of teams do this.
Yeah.
Is they'll secure deals in principle and have like pre-contract stuff, right?
Right.
In place.
So the paperwork's out of the way.
Well, essentially.
Yeah.
So everything's all but ratified, but the two teams have a contract between one another to do this business once the market opens.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep. Got it.
But anyway, the FA is actually, I'm glad you brought that up.
Good.
Lead story on Sky Sports. FA is in talks to move the transfer window to August until October.
All right.
Problem already. The UEFA Champions League and Europa League are due to play in either Lisbon or Frankfurt through the month of August.
Yes.
To come to their conclusion for the season.
Right. A la World Cup style.
So how in the fuck are you able to transfer a player while they're stuck in a camp in the middle of Lisbon?
Right. Because they can't leave, because if they leave, they got to fucking quarantine.
Yep.
And as a player, what do you then allow the agent to be the person that signs the contract, the agent then has to take the contract to the player? Like, how does that fucking work?
If I was Chelsea and somebody say, for instance, this is not a rumor, somebody was eyeing up a move for Pulisic, and they decided they were going to tap him up while he was at the camp. He becomes distracted, plays like shit. They tie 3-3 on aggregate with Bayern Munich from their second leg.
Right.
Right? They decide then to go to penalties. Pulisic's the fifth taker and misses it. Does Chelsea have a case to sue Manchester City?
For
whoever's
stealing, turning his head.
For turning his head and unsettling him just before he's due to play. How is that going to work? I mean, obviously that's a very extreme case.
Right.
But
I would say in an instance like that, I don't think that you can ultimately do anything, because then you open up the case of a player wants to force a move and they play like dog shit while they're with the club till they get their move, a la Julian Lescott, being the part of giving up 7 goals in the Everton's opener to Arsenal on that 7-1 defeat that you and I watched together.
I remember that day.
Julian Lescott was playing in the middle because he wanted to move to Manchester City.
And
he played like dog shit. You could then.
Are you still talking?
Stop touching yourself.
Sorry.
Stop
7-0.
touching yourself. No, it was 7-1. We scored one.
Oh, sorry.
Zaha scored right at the end.
So much better.
Zaha scored one right at the end, and I jumped around and screamed like a little schoolgirl because it was the only moment of pleasure and joy I had the entire day.
Yep, and then I laid my dick back on the table.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that was.
I'm still here.
So, boys and girls, that was the first game of the first season that Mr. Houston was all in on Everton. So that was the opener. That was I had seen the game where we lost to Chelsea 2-1 in the FA Cup final. But as we're passing over all the goodies to Sam to make himself another gin and tonica.
I told you this stuff goes down too easily.
Yep. Look at that. All the happy. So, yeah, I had watched the FA Cup final, but then the next game, we got another lime there for you too, Sammy. The FA Cup final found that that was the first game I watched, and then the next game I watched ended up being lovely old, as I keep hitting the computer here, Mel's computer, ended up being lovely old Arsenal kicking the ever-loving shit out of us in our very first game.
I appreciate your professionalism with that whole pass the gin and the tonic and the
keep
whole
talking.
back and forth.
It was still a little choppy. I could have been better.
Still, not bad.
It's better than I thought you'd do, to be honest.
Oh, me too. I had the bar set very low for that transition.
All right. Well, with that being said, Sam, look me right in the eyes. I'd like you to know this. Go fuck yourself. Producer Mel, look me right in the eyes. Hit the mute button and then go fuck yourself. Speaking of Chelsea, they are already up and running. They have already signed one. They are tied to a couple of others. They just signed Ziyech from the Moroccan attacking midfielder from Ajax, which again, you're able to do business because the Dutch league had already closed up shop.
Yep.
And then they are now tied with Timo Werner from Red Bull, which is kind of interesting because normally a high-scoring striker in Germany typically ends up at fucking Bayern
Munich,
not someplace else. And that was also a major target, supposedly, for Liverpool. So that's a big kick in the pants.
So they really, I don't know if it's a kick in the pants. I think Liverpool were the ones that backed out. The article I read on Sky said that Liverpool basically balked at the asking price because Leipzig wanted the full buyout clause, which was like
49.
54 and a half, I think, million.
Well, they're not going to get a transfer fee, so yeah, you want the whole fucking buyout clause.
Well, absolutely. So that is the transfer fee, is that that buyout. So I think Liverpool said they don't want to sell any of the front three.
Right.
So that's a lot of money to spend on somebody coming off the bench.
And especially considering you just brought over the Korean or Japanese player from Dortmund.
Moto.
Yeah.
You're talking about the young, I think he's Japanese.
Yeah.
The young Japanese kid.
Yeah, so you have him too, like, all right, well, where the fuck is he? Where's Werner supposed to play then?
Yeah. So, but then you have also you have Alisson, Van Dijk, and Mo Salah.
All looking for extensions on contracts.
You need to sign to extensions, which is going to fall into FFP and all those sorts of things because it goes against your wages, obviously. And with them performing as they have this season and last season, they're going to be looking for quite the large pay rise,
and deservedly so.
And
if
I'm
you,
not, for sure.
Particularly in the case of like Alisson and Van Dijk, I think in the case of Salah, you've had great strikers walk through your door before. You'll have great strikers walk through your door again.
Right.
You know. So, but if there's a priority, your team's fortune changed because you signed Van Dijk. Like he changed your team's fortunes. And then the next season, your one slip up cough was keeper. And then you fix that with Alisson.
Right.
So you win this title. It is on the back of those two moves.
Absolutely.
You better fucking pay them.
No, right.
You better fucking pay them, and you better fucking pay them well.
I think they thought they were going to use Jurgen Klopp's connections as being German, having been there for very long, managed 2 clubs in Germany. To in the top flight, at least, being able to kind of persuade the Leipzig ownership to sell cheaper, or maybe work out a payment plan that wouldn't be so painful.
Right.
And that's their prized asset, and they said no.
Yeah.
So Liverpool was just caught with their pants down, basically. That swoop in Chelsea, and apparently, what I read today, everything's done.
Yeah,
they're just waiting for the transfer window to open.
Yeah, it's fucking done.
It's finished. Yeah.
And then you think about that. They already had a young, talented team with the likes of Mount and Abraham and Pulisic, and now you're adding.
And Timo Werner can play in multiple positions up front. He
can play all over the place.
So you've got Hudson-Odoi, Christian Pulisic, Tammy Abraham, Mason Mount, right? You maybe are able to hold on to one of Willian or Pedro. One of them's definitely leaving.
I think they're both
the
gone.
other one's probably leaving.
I think they're both gone. I think Willian very much wants to go play in Spain. He's very much in it at that. And I think somebody like Barcelona will still give him a good payday.
Yeah.
And he'll play a role for them, you know.
Right. But then you have now Ziyech. So they have a very scary front 5 or 6 players that can pretty much rotate in and out and keep everyone fresh.
Suddenly, Ross Barkley to Newcastle doesn't seem all that impossible.
Doesn't seem like a bad transfer. That
now, what's so funny in that situation is we're looking at that with Chelsea. Is we were kind of surprised that they didn't spend any money over the winter because they were finally allowed to. This has ended up benefiting them.
Yeah,
having been put on restriction, they just have bags of money.
They're one of the few clubs that has money
that nobody else has.
Yeah. And with the way they've moved on some experienced high earners that were underperforming at the club and now using mostly kids that are probably on lower wages anyway than they would have been prior to this season's performance, I think they saved a boatload of money the way that they operated and given their ban.
Liverpool, you're going to have your fucking hands full next season.
I think so.
And
if not next season, the season after. City and Liverpool need to watch out. Sadly to say.
And Chelsea also apparently hasn't even blinked an eye at the fact that they're considering going after Ben Chilwell from Leicester. And Leicester's gone, sure, $60 million. And Chelsea's gone, okay.
Yeah.
I ain't got a problem with that.
Manchester City is also interested in Ben Chilwell.
which means the price tag's going to go up.
Which also means, I think, because Ben Chilwell still has a couple years left on his contract.
Yeah, 3 to be precise.
Yeah, I think he's prepared to move on, and his agent is starting to circulate rumors.
Oh yeah.
Now I think Chelsea's genuinely interested.
Yeah,
but
because,
like,
well,
where did I 2 days ago I didn't hear about City. All of a sudden, City's involved.
Why does Chilwell need to leave? He's going back to Champions League.
Right.
Because remember, he's already won a Premier League title with Leicester.
He needs to leave.
He's been in the Champions League, and he's getting ready to go to another Champions
Yeah, but
League.
he needs to leave for a realistic chance of winning it.
Oh God, yeah,
is
of course,
the thing.
of course.
And Leicester, is in a fantastic position because they don't have to sell. He's got so long on his contract. They can still get $60 million for him next season.
Yeah.
If they wanted to, they could just say "fuck you" and hold on to
I'd
him.
be surprised they end up getting 75 or 80 million.
He's
for
only
him.
23,
Yeah,
maybe
they're gonna
24.
They're gonna get a fuck ton for him.
Absolutely.
And then they'll do exactly what they did with the Maguire money, and they'll buy the right pieces.
Yeah,
They'll
just
bring
like
it,
Soyuncu,
Yeah.
who stepped in, has been pretty fantastic. Yeah, a couple of gaps, but he was still settling in. Other than that, he's phenomenal this season.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. Now, I was going to talk about Man U, but it's the same two people they've been talking about for a while now. It's Grealish and it's Sancho that they've been talking about. And it's
So the interesting part about that.
I'm sorry, what?
Grealish,
Hi,
Grealish
I
and
just
Sancho.
heard, hi, paying attention now.
Yeah, you don't get used to him staying, honey. Hit the mute button. Go ahead.
So the thing I did hear about Grealish is dependent upon Premier League survival. The article headline said, if Aston Villa survive, do Manchester United have the stones to drop £80 million?
Yeah.
Do they have the stomach for it? And after the money they've spent on Harry Maguire, on Wan-Bissaka, on Bruno Fernandes, on Paul Pogba a couple years ago, but they're still paying that off. Those sorts of things. Do they have the money? Do they have the stones to drop another £80 million?
Or do you drop $20 million on a young and talented kid, a la James, that you got from the championship that was playing for Swans?
Or do you go for free and sign Matty Longstaff?
Oh yeah,
because if you recall correctly, Mike Ashley did not offer. It's like he pulled the car salesman.
Yeah.
Matty Longstaff was like, "I want $25 million," or maybe it was Sean, one of the two brothers. I want 25,000 a week.
It's Matty. It's
Matty. I want 25,000 a week. Mike Ashley's. What do you mean you want 20? I can't believe you're asking for 15. And Matt was like, wait, oh, what happened? What's going on here?
Yep.
And so they're not offering him a new contract. He is out of contract at the end of the season.
Gonna
and they're
walk.
letting him walk away. One of the first homegrown players that fucking club has produced in forever.
Which
So
is a 2-for-1. You can guarantee then his brother's going to go, fuck off, I want to get sold to.
Right. So if you then turn around and you're looking at these players for X amount of dollars or what have you, do you turn around and say, you know what? Bruno can probably play the outside, or Fred could probably do a job
Yeah.
out there. Why don't we just go ahead and bring in Matty, let him play in the middle, and push one of them wide?
Yeah.
We're set.
Yeah. It's
Don't
true.
have to worry about it.
True.
And we got him for completely free.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what their books look like, to be honest with you, to a T. I don't know if they're coming under financial fair play questions or anything. I just know that they've spent a lot of fucking money and got very little return for it in the last few seasons. So I don't know what they're really going to have to spend, Manchester United. And that may be a viable option, especially if they're trying to lower the age of their midfield.
All right. So quickly, why don't you go ahead and talk a little bit about what's going on with your boys, and I'll talk a little bit about what's going on with my boys.
So kind of a couple of interesting things. Apparently, we have entered the fray of signing Philip Coutinho to move on Mesut Ozil.
Really?
Yeah, because apparently he's played his last game for Bayern Munich, and they're not going to keep him for the second season of his loan deal.
Okay.
The other story I read before this a few weeks ago, also on Sky, was that Arsenal are prepared to axe up to 10 players, moving them on or just letting them go.
And with a team that's not got a lot of money to spend, quote unquote, Mr. Kroenke, who wants to, build a new box at fucking the LA Rams Stadium or change their uniforms and make them look like shit.
They look like IKEA salesmen, don't they?
They look really bad.
They're terrible.
But so if you're going to cut 10 players, well, then who the hell's going to fill up the fucking roster?
Right. You then have to turn around and fill those places. Yeah. That's the part.
I mean, there's some loanees out there that you can bring back. Obviously, the kid at Saint Etienne is probably going to be seeing significant time as a central defenseman for that team next season. You have to imagine.
And so the other question is are you able to bring in enough players on that? Are you able to move on Mesut Ozil for enough money to reinvest in the squad? Blah 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 blah. If that's what you want to do, are you going to sell Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang because he's the most valuable player that we have?
Do you try to work Ozil back to Germany?
Right.
Do you think maybe Bayern might want to take a flyer on him?
Nope, I don't. Not one bit.
Okay, fair enough.
They are a fucking machine. They don't have time for
That's true. They don't have time for his fucking petty emotions
Not
and
at
all
all.
that kind of shit. Yeah.
You can't be missing games because your back hurts because you sat in your gamer chair all night playing Fortnite and making $1 million on Twitch.
Right.
You
Yep.
twat.
Tell us how you really feel about him.
It's a twat. So that's the most interesting news I found is potentially getting Coutinho. Although they did say the stumbling block was Coutinho's wages.
Oh yeah, how are you?
But Mesut Ozil's on $350,000 a week.
I mean, if only you had a stadium that was 100% paid for, and you didn't have that hanging over your head. I mean, oh, that's right, you don't.
Yeah, but
have
we
a
also are
stadium
missing
bill.
out on £3 million a week at the moment, or going to miss out on £3 million a week in match day revenue.
Yeah,
As is everybody else. But the finances just aren't there. And with the risk now of very real risk of not finishing in the European places.
yeah, that is a real deal risk.
No Europa League, no Champions League. Where's the fucking money coming from?
Right.
That's the biggest question now.
Then suddenly you're one of us.
Okay, I wouldn't go that far.
One of us. One of us.
I wouldn't go that far. Or do you sell some of your highest rated assets like Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang? Do you try to move on?
He's gone. I'm telling you, Sammy. Sorry, he's gone.
No, yeah, but do you try to do some of those things just to get money into the bank?
If you're not in Champions League ball, he's gone.
No, absolutely.
He's gonna want to play Champions League ball.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
But do we even if we're in the Champions League, are we resigned to losing him anyway just to fill the coffers? Because the
That's true.
Champions League money isn't right now,
Right.
and they
right.
need the money now.
Right.
You have a good forward in Lacazette. Pepe started to seemingly find his feet.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie Nketiah came back from loan.
Yeah, seems to be doing well.
They bagged a hat trick against Charlton.
Yeah.
So do you just bank on the kids / Lacazette, or do you risk losing Pierre for free next summer?
You're burying the lead. Stop talking about him scoring a hat trick against a championship side that's about to go back down to League One. Settle down,
All
killer.
I'm saying is City better be scared.
Because all we know, because what we know of Charlton Athletic is that they're the team that beat Sunderland and Sunderland Till I Die to keep them down from going up.
Yeah.
So
I didn't find any other crazy transfer rumors for us or anybody else really.
Cool.
What do you have going on?
So a few things going on for Everton. First off, JPEG, Mr. Gababin, came back to training fully fit and fucked up his Achilles and is now out for 8 months. So the signing that will never play for us.
Money well spent.
Yeah, so well spent. Which will lead me to a potential rumor. The other thing that also happened is one Mr. Yuri Mina also hurt himself and is out for the remainder of this season. So we now have precisely 2 center backs for the rest of the season.
Nice.
Holgate and Keane. Please, for the love of Christ, do not get hurt. I do not need Seamus Coleman to be the 3rd fucking center back. I don't need.
That's funny.
You love the Irishman. You love the captain. He'll fucking put in a shift. He'll do the best he fucking can. He ain't meant to be in the middle of all them giants. He's a little Irish boy.
Correct.
He's not meant to be there.
Yeah, no, he is not.
In the
You might have to switch to a 3-back system.
Yeah.
Like Chelsea did with Azpilicueta.
Yeah.
Where he was one of the center backs, just one of the outside center backs, where he was
That is
not asked to do a lot of the aerial
I
things.
would not be surprised if that's because we have done that before,
Yep.
where we did Sidibe and Digne up on those sides, and then went with a 3-back system. It was Mina, Coleman, and Holgate. That would not surprise me one bit to see that happen.
Right.
You know, now on a happy note, and then I'll talk about the rumor note. On a happy note, one Mr. Leighton Baines has been extended a contract for the next season.
They're going to give him priority parking for being a senior citizen?
You know what? Sam, you and I both saw that goal in the League Cup. That boy still got a little bit of a little gas in that tank.
You got to show up in your kit now, so at least he doesn't have to sit down in the dressing room.
And you know what? And Sam, I think if you had a player similar on your side, you'd be happy as hell, and you would say, give that man a contract every fucking year until he doesn't want to play anymore.
We don't do that anymore. We let their contracts run down. We move them on for free, and then we spend money on bullshit.
And then they talk shit about you when they go back to France.
That's our job now.
Yeah. But it's just a good feel-good story because let's face it, also, in the few games that he's had to play when Luca Digne's been down, he's been good. He's been very good. And he's the perfect kind of guy you want in that locker room. He's the perfect guy you want on that training ground. He is the epitome of what being an Evertonian is.
Absolutely.
And
I'm not trying to disrespect
no,
him.
of course.
Yeah.
And arguably, I know a lot of people will put Ashley Cole up there because Ashley Cole has won titles, but arguably the best left back in the history of the Premier League. He's right up there. Because I will tell you this. Okay, no. I will tell you this. Cole has all the titles, all the other stats, goals, assists, tackles, all Leighton Baines.
Listen, I'm not even worried about Cashley Cole. He betrayed us also.
Right.
Fuck him. I think you're very much disrespecting Wayne Bridge.
Okay, no. Well,
who once John Terry stole his wife.
It
was very easy for him to focus on football, and he became a quality left back.
I was going to say after that he stopped focusing on football and ran home and cried. And then on the rumor mill for JPEG here is apparently after one season of playing every single game and doing absolutely everything you wanted him to, PSG apparently doesn't want Idrissa Gueye.
Yeah.
And
you told me this in the pre-show meeting.
Yeah, a guy who all he has done is exactly what they needed because they needed a holding midfielder to settle that team down and to secure the defense. And he's done it, and he's been phenomenal. And for every account, everyone has said he's been fucking amazing. And, well, it's not sexy enough. PSG needs to be sexy, you know. The former home of Zlatan must be sexy. So they want to sell him.
I think it's Zlatan's fault. He called up and said, I played here. It needs to be sexy now.
Yeah, no, he must go. But they want to sell him back, and the asking price is 7.5. And there's two teams apparently interested, and one of them, of course, is Everton. For me, as an Everton fan, yes, sign him back again tomorrow because he's got 3 years on a deal. We sold him for $30 million, and we're about to get him back for 7.5 after one season. And we have a need for defensive midfielder, considering the main defensive midfielder we bought is injured, and we desperately want to get rid of Schneiderlin. We desperately want to get rid of Gylfi. Like, bring him back tomorrow, please. Oh my God, please let this be a rumor that's true. And then the other fun part is every single player that has ever played for Carlo Ancelotti has been linked to Everton so far in 3 weeks' time.
Of course.
All of them.
I do think one thing's funny that we listen to a lot of shows, obviously, the two of us. We talk about it all the time. We listen to a lot of podcasts. One of the funniest things I heard as Serge Gnabry ripped apart one of Bayern Munich's opponents this past weekend. I can't remember who they played now for some reason. Anyway, as he ripped apart that team, somebody asked someone else on the show, how'd you feel about getting $5 million for him? He said, "What'd you do with the $5 million you got for him?" Is a better question. It just gave it to Mesut Ozil. What we did with it. I forgot that quote. That's pretty funny. You should probably mention that.
Pretty great. So Mel, what's going on with Villa?
Fuck you, Houston. You're just needling me. You know we're just trying to stay up.
It's time to tell you what little we know. It is prediction time. Sammy, let's kind of fly through this. How'd you do on your bet?
I lost because RB Leipzig got a red card in the first half and was unable to score multiple goals against whoever they played.
Got it.
People going down.
Cool.
Do you know the name?
Know what your bet's going to be?
Oh, I know what my bet's going to be. And
as soon as he finishes Googling it.
No, my bet's kind of the reason that we're not going to be able to fly through this.
Okay, well then let me go ahead and knock out our other two real quick. And by the way, Sam, right after that, We have to do production on the fly because remember, we're not talking about DU football right now because they're not playing football right now. We're talking about our Belarusian team. So you got to find out how they did this weekend because I didn't look it up.
Yep, we got
So you have to do that on the fly too.
Admin on that one.
With that being said,
And now, it's time for our degenerate gambling friend Pat's Pick of the Week.
prime time Bundesliga soccer. I would say when I'm going to read this out, I think he might have gotten his numbers wrong because it seems like I just can't imagine this would be a negative number. So for Saturday's primetime game, we've got Bayern Munich playing Mönchengladbach. Gladbach has won 3 of the last 5 against Bayern. That's interesting because most teams don't carry that kind of stat against Bayern Munich. So I'm going to take the 1.5 goals for Gladbach at minus 120. Normal bet, risk 120 to win 100. You guys have a good one, and I guess next week, it's Premier League is back on. I can't wait. The only thing that seems odd there, I cannot believe Gladbach to win by a goal and a half is a minus 120. That's got to be, it can't be a negative number.
Right.
Because Bayern has to be favored no matter what.
Of course.
Even with that run. So I think he might be wrong on his numbers there, but I'm going to let him run with that.
Right. Well, you got to do what you got to do.
All right. You figure out your bet yet, Sam?
Yeah, I've got it, but I wanted to toss in a 7th piece of the parlay. Well, it didn't count, of course.
You are only justifying Taylor's email.
All right.
That's the last thing we need is Taylor empowered.
All right, so we won't know the end of this until later on.
All right.
We'll have to follow up later about it. The rest of the shit happens in a week. Where's the... Oh, it won't let me bet that.
All right, should I go ahead and go to Taylor's while you're still taking care of yourself there, Killer?
No, so it's plus 1776, actually, as we build up to July 4th.
Oh, very cool.
But this week, I am going with the Spanish League is back. So FC Barcelona to win over 4.5 goals scored against Mallorca.
That's going to happen.
Away. Probably going to happen.
Yeah.
RB Leipzig to win over Hoffenheim. Borussia Dortmund to win over Fortuna Dusseldorf. And Bayern Munich to win over Borussia Mönchengladbach, and there to be 3.5 goals or over in that game. That's a total of 1776. A 6-piece parlay spanning 2 countries.
You're just really excited. You just wanted it to be 1776, didn't you?
No, it doesn't count, so fuck it. Why not do something stupid? In the build-up, because I'll hit this, and then I'll turn around next week and be like, the Prem's back. 10-part parlay.
And take your $2,000 into $5,000.
Yeah, exactly.
Big Sam's Proxy. Taylor's Lock of the Week.
I'm going to hide the title because he says it in the email. And this is very important. Hey, guys, I'm not going to tell you how my sure thing went last week. Let me just say Hoffenheim had a player sent off in the 9th minute. I'll let you draw your own conclusion from there and let you know that Big Sam's Proxy needs to make up a little bit of ground this week. However, I find comfort in remembering the words that Graham used to say before picking a 14-team parlay that would further deplete his kids college fund/funds. Scared money don't make money.
That's right. I know, bitch.
Therefore, I'm back to a multi-team parlay to get me just north of break even. I'm rolling the dice on Hertha to beat Frankfurt at home on Sunday. Leverkusen getting the away win against Schalke on Sunday.
That's a good bet.
Yeah, because
Schalke's
so awful right now. 100 makes you 209. And remember, you remember that time when I hit a bet? Yeah, that was awesome. Thanks again, guys. Taylor. Oh my God, did Sam get the reference?
I mean, he hasn't won a bet in a while. I got that reference.
You're not getting the reference.
Okay, what's the reference?
Chris Farley, Saturday Night Live. He would do interviews. He would do interviews with people with like Paul McCartney and be like, "Yeah, you were with the Beatles, right? Yeah, the Beatles.
Okay. I
That
knew
was
what he
awesome.
was doing just because I've been with him so damn long, but that was not a very relevant reference.
I'm also
and he
not.
didn't give you enough to go off of.
I'm also not a huge Saturday Night Live fan. We've been over this.
But Taylor gave me that, and I wanted to
Taylor,
portray
I
his
would like you
email.
to know he actually did like the facial expression and the arm motion for you. I know this is an audio medium, but you'll just have to trust me. He did it justice.
Sam, I'm bad at production and writing notes, and I knew I needed to look up to see how the old Slux train did. How do we do this week?
That's what I'm looking at now. Here we go. Results and fixtures. Bang. Come on, internet in the woods.
Don't play my internet. I got a strong internet.
Boom, boom, boom. Sunday. That's April. Here we go. 6-6. A 1-1 draw against Torpedo Belaz.
All right. Well, hey, it's a draw. That's better than the 1-0 loss last week.
Hold on. Torpedo Belaz is BEL. Well, B because it's capitalized is the first part of the name, first letter.
Right.
EL is lowercase. As, like backing up for the 99 and 2000.
Right.
Is AZ capitalized. So it's Torpedo Belaz.
Very good.
Back that ass up.
All right, so let's keep it going. We need a W here. We want to be able to talk with more emphatic love and feeling for you.
I gotta find a kit for them.
Gotta find a scarf.
Yeah, I hope
They said they got a fucking Pegasus, man. We're all in, man. They got a fucking Pegasus.
I told you that's my favorite of the mythical creatures.
We discussed that last week.
I need to find
Because we're thin on material.
Yep. What I do want to find with them is a home shirt. I really badly want to have a home shirt from them.
Excellent.
And I hope they keep streaming. The Belarusian League is streaming on YouTube.
Oh, okay, cool.
So find it. It's I think they're 7 hours ahead of us. So 10 a.m. would be noon there.
Okay.
So I think they go off at noon and 5.
Oh, okay.
Possibly.
Very good.
Like 6 a.m., noon and 5 or something like that.
So not god awful.
No, check it out. Look at it. It's a fun watch.
Sam-
Little different in quality to the Premier League.
Oh, I would imagine. I imagine the pitch is probably a very much more akin to a League Two pitch as well.
Potato patch.
Oh, yeah. Sam, if you don't mind, I'm going to steal the parting words from you. This is not actually my parting words. It's actually Taylor's parting words. He wrote us a very lovely email. And the first half of it, we're going to discuss an injury time because it was injury time that we were talking about the topic. So I want to save it for there.
Okay.
But I'm going to read his last two paragraphs to you. I quickly wanted to bring up a couple of other things. I wanted you guys to do the show you guys needed to do for you last week. And for those of you who don't know, our injury time show was touch political considering all the bullshit that's been going on lately. And we just felt like we had to talk about it. I didn't hold a ton of hope that I was going to enjoy or get much out of it. I was wrong. While I learned over the last couple of years, we do share a lot of opinions, and we differ on a fair few number of others. I absolutely enjoyed the hell out of the show. I felt challenged in a good way to continue to refine and evolve my thinking. And even in areas where we share commonality of thought, it took a lot to leave your hearts out there. And for that, I just wanted to applaud your courage and integrity you all brought to the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you for being open to our viewpoint.
Yeah.
And not immediately canceling your subscription and never listening to us again.
I was looking for that. I was like, just in case. I didn't think anyone was going to, but we really got passionate last week.
Yeah, it's a passionate topic, and you know that while we may speak about things in a bit of a heated fashion, I do my very best, at least, and I know you two do as well, to bring up Googleable facts, which is important in a situation like this.
Excellent. That being said, during the 43rd minute, when Graham was talking about the guy in Baltimore with the AK-47, he asked, why shouldn't the police have something in their arsenal to combat this? What the man had.
I didn't
Bravo.
say it was in Baltimore.
It took 43 minutes, but he has had he was still able to turn the conversation back to a pro-Arsenal agenda. Good job, kids.
So what I love.
Thanks again. Much love and respect, Taylor.
I love how you purposely left the pause in for me to say something and then threw that back in my face afterwards.
That is why I drive the bus, my friend.
First
it is why I
off,
drive the bus.
Let me refute that. I did not say he was in Baltimore because there was no one arrested for weapons charges in Baltimore during these
You
protests.
just worked in Arsenal.
Secondly, with all this going on, like in Minnesota, we're going to defund and dismantle the police. You know what I'd like to see? You know what I think is a decent idea, to be honest with you?
What's
now,
that?
there needs to be proper gun control put in place for this to happen. I wouldn't mind going to the English policing system. Normal police officers don't have fucking guns.
Everybody's got a nightstick.
Yeah, and then everybody's got an armed police task force that the unarmed people show up and they go, mate, shit's bad. Need the big boys. And then you send them boys in who are highly trained in both criminal law, psychology, and sensitivity. And then you have them either have a shootout or actually de-escalate a situation for once.
Already heard. All right.
It
So
wouldn't be a bad idea, but it would take gun control to make that happen.
got it. So next up is injury time. More of the same, just us fucking around. We're doing Q&A. Going to be a little more lighthearted this week as opposed to last week where we were pretty fucking deep.
Yeah.
Sam, how do people get injury time again?
It's www.patreon.com/DUfootballshow. And I did have one little sliver for you.
Please.
It's lovely. Okay? Two-time WSL winners Liverpool were demoted to the Women's Championship last week because they were dead last and the women decided to kaput their season. So there's that. Also,
DBAC, baby. DBAC.
that's it. You can't use racism to justify racism, you bastard.
Till next week, everybody.
Good night.
Born in the land of Bowie, Maryland. Bred to be a fan of fucking Everton. Punch you in the eye and drink your rye. Sam Houston.
Sam Houston.
Arsenal fans have another Sam. Right, the fucking Guten. Smells of a lord. Looks great in shorts.